will be picking up my son after he finished his first year of college at Wazoo. So
Wow.
we are excited.
Wow. All right. Wow. So next week when we come and talk back on Thursday, I need to find out what you think about his year one in the Palouse. So
Oh yeah.
we gotta get into that. All right. So I went over the juice boxes, but I didn't really go into any of the games because I knew that you were coming up here, and Nino's coming in after you. So the order kind of flipped this go around, and I tip my hat to both of you graciously. When you're looking at the matchups this weekend, you got Messi and friends who are angry and they're leading off going to Toronto. You've got Charlotte and Cincinnati. You've got Dallas and RSL. Nashville, who loses in the midweek, and they got thumped and they lose 2-0. So they have to come back, but they're at home, and DC is a crazy number. You've got Colorado at home, Portland at home, San Diego and Seattle, which is where we'll start, San Jose and Vancouver. LAFC is the caboose as Houston comes to town, but I want to start with you as Seattle and San Diego FC and what you think about that matchup coming up this weekend.
Look, it's going to be a great game here at Lumen Field. The team will be back after a frustrating 1-1 draw at Sporting Kansas City. I think that they're also angry. I think that this is a Sounders team that knows they should have done better. They're regardless of how the game played out and the possession that you had. The reality is that this Sounders team needs to be elite. When you're the superior team, you need to be able to kill those games off, which they could have, right? I mean, they had opportunities. I thought the Ferreira played excellent. So I do think that this team is going to come into this game knowing that they have to show that they are one of the best teams in the West. And at home, they have been great. They actually have now lost at Lumen Field since June of last season, all the way back to the Club World Cup. I think PSG is the last team that has beat the Sounders at home. So this is one that I would feel very comfortable to, depending on the numbers, maybe I'd be very comfortable putting some juice boxes on it. But the team looks good. Everybody's healthy with the exception of the more prolonged players. There was some unfortunate news about Yeimar. We thought that he was going to be able to come back prior to the World Cup break, but on KJR, Brian Smetzer mentioned that they looked at the MRI, they weren't comfortable with what they saw, and they were going to just hold him till after the World Cup. So the good thing there is that Alex Roldan has been phenomenal. You got Tino Lopez, and we'll see what happens with San Diego FC, right? This is a very there's going to be a lot of goals in this one. San Diego is a team that, although they've been on a free fall, and they're not the San Diego of old, they still have some really quality players in the attacking end. Now they're gappy and they're very open and they're easy to score on. If they haven't been able to really short down a defense. So this is going to be a good game for goals, in my opinion.
All right. So I've dialed it up and I am checking the totals here, sir. 2.5 a -175 along your point. 3.5 is where technically 3.25 is where it turns. 3.5 is a +140. You want me to go higher?
No, that's about as rich as I am going to get with that, and I'll take it. I really do want to take it, and there is a little bit of doubt because the Sounders have not been this offensive juggernaut, but I do think that against San Diego, with the way San Diego plays, I think you're going to once again see the dual tens of Albert Rusnak and Jesus Ferreira in the same lineup, starting with Jordan up top in this one. I really do think that we're going to go back to seeing my favorite lineup, not everyone's favorite lineup, but I think that you will see Paul Bartok on the left, Albert playing the 10, with Ferreira on the right wing playing that pocket winger, and Jordan Morris hopefully has a big game against a team that, as I said, has conceded a lot of goals. So it's going to be a interesting one, but I feel comfortable taking the Sounders and the 3.5.
Yeah, Sounders are a -137, so put that one over there. Take your total at over 3.5, and you're on the plus side.
Exactly.
All right, so Vancouver and San Jose, that is marquee. And San Jose is a dog at home at a +220. Vancouver favored on the road at a +125.
Yeah, that's a difficult one. No Nico Shakirius for San Jose. That's a big hole to fill for that team. In my opinion, no disrespect to Timo Werner, Nico Shakiris has been that team. Judd has been that team. The defense has been phenomenal. They struggled last week, and they have Roberts to thank with that sliding safe that game didn't end up with a L on the record. But I will say that I think Vancouver is going to put them under a lot of duress. I think that Vancouver, seeing in the way that they attack, and where they're able to pin back the opposition, I really do think that they are going to take this game. I think that this is going to be one of the few L's that San Jose will take over the start of this season. So only the Sounders have been able to do that. So I think that Vancouver, being the other Cascadia team, maybe they have a little bit of something to say about that. And I do feel like this is one of those games that without some pieces and a Vancouver team that also needs to show that they are that team, I think they might take this one.
Okay. Draw, just so everybody knows, is a plus 270 as well. So Vancouver, road favorite, plus 125. Draws a plus 270. San Jose is a plus 2.25. So that's another fun one there. What other matchups stick out to you this week? I mean, RSL on the road is a dog at Dallas, which I find really interesting.
I want to know the numbers on that one, because look, RSL is a team that, when we look at the power standings and we try to decipher what's going on, a lot of times we forget about just looking at the matchups and looking at the individual performances. And look, RSL is as dangerous as any team in the Western Conference, especially on the attacking end. I know that defensively, they could definitely up their game, but when I look at the fluidity of their attack and what Luna's been able to do, and Gozo just seems to be heating up and continue to heat up, and it's just a team that, to me, screams we can get back into any game. And they had a couple of so-so performances, but I do think that against FC Dallas, a team that, as I've said before, I'm not as high as other of my colleagues on, this is going to be an interesting one. So what are the numbers saying?
The numbers in this one are intriguing. RSL is a plus 200 on the road. They're a dog. FCD is a plus 120, and the draw is a plus 280.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Oof.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that draw does sound good. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, when you look at the youth that is there for RSL, I mean, it's Gozo and Luna, and it is Gila Vogie coming in and catching
Who's
his
been great.
And Sergi Solons and Hezer Khani coming off from injury, who has been a big troublemaker. So Olatunji, when he's healthy, you've got to prepare for a lot of different things for RSL, and legitimately at a plus 200 on the road at Dallas. I'm like,
yeah, no, I like it. To be honest, and again, the draw is tempting because FC Dallas has got a couple of those this season. I don't put a lot of stock in the game against Red Bulls. I think that kind of fell their way. And the Red Bulls are also very young, which we cannot compare with RSL, because there is a different type of experience that goes through with not just the players, but what Pablo can do. He's a guy that's going to set this team up correctly against Dallas. So, man, I'll go with RSL. I'll go with RSL. I'm taking RSL. And what about the goals, Compos? Because the 3.5, I would not mind throwing some out there.
All right, so hang on just a second. I've got a follow-up question having to do with youngins, and I will ask that one. 3.5 is a plus 138, so you're on the plus side there too.
Yeah, I'll take it. Look, RSL can, when it comes to volume of play, they could really put it together. And Dallas, whether it's through set pieces or more direct play, they could also put it on you. So this is going to be one that very easily could go beyond that. So yeah, let's do that.
All right. One of the other teams this season that has been playing youngins is Red Bulls. And out of the blocks, We saw Julian Hall. We saw what Michael Bradley was doing. He coached them last year with Red Bulls 2, wins an MLS Next Pro championship. So he brings them along, and you anticipate, okay, he knows these guys. He knows what they can do. They get off to that hot start. Now they've hit a bit of a wall, and they're now only at 12 points through 11 matches. They're at 3-5-3, and they're kind of gripping right now. People are already up in the tri-state in the Northeast. They're already calling for Michael Bradley's head. Exactly. And so the lack of patience and the dealing of the extremes, it's like, hey, we got young guys and they're doing great, so everything's great. Now all of a sudden you got these young guys and they're having to adjust to the second time through the batting order, and everybody's sitting there going, oh, they stink and Michael's got to go and all this kind of stuff. It's like Michael Bradley right now seems to be in that no-win Northeastern media situation that's going on.
Yeah, man, this is what's wrong with today's media at work. And no, let me rephrase it. This is what happened. This is what's wrong with certain individuals that have the ability to sit in front of a mic. This is what's wrong with, I don't know, the generation that there is just this necessity to be a prisoner of the moment, and you need to be hyperbolic about everything. And because you talk the loudest, you feel like you just discovered that water is wet and that there is such thing called fire. And let me tell you that you didn't discover it. I mean, it's literally a pandemic of this necessity to just create panic, and the sky's fallen, right? And you can look at what happened with LAFC and Toluca losing, and now let's just pack it up. Let's just cancel MLS season. We're no good. Let's just tear it down. See if Taffer can come in and fix it. Tell them shut it down. I mean, that is what happens with all of these things. So when it comes to the Red Bulls, I mean, you got to understand that when you are a young team, there's going to be ebbs and flows of the season. You got to give these kids time to deal with those ebbs and flows that they haven't dealt with. So you can't go from saying, look, oh, Manetti is the next Tyler Adams, and Hall is going to be the striker of the future for the U.S. men's national team, to it all sucks. Pack them up. Let's just, I mean, come on, guys. I mean, there's got to be some, not just patience, but there's got to be some coherent narrative going into this, right? And Bradley, he's also young in the coaching world, and you got to give him time. And regardless of the experience of a coach, I've said this 1,000 times, and people don't like it, especially in South America and Mexico, where they just love to fire coaches right and left. But you have to give a coach at least 3 years to see that soccer module go through. And I'm not saying that you got to hold off through a 10 winningless streak, or if the team is getting killed, and there's different conversations to have. But you should go into a project allowing a head coach to put his mark on the team, and that just doesn't happen that quickly. So to me, it's just nonsense. I think that this Red Bulls team was fun to see at the beginning of the season. I still love a lot of the young guys. I like Donker as well, 21, but he's still a very interesting player. Overall, the team, Rubalcaba, he's a guy that I'm watching as well. So you got all of this young talent, but you have to be able to see it through. So the Michael Bradley, let's get rid of him. That agenda is worthless. Put it with the tabloids at the mini mart or whatever. Just get rid of that. Just absolutely get rid of it.
Just literally, just take a breath. And it's the battle of the extremes. It's like either everything is fantastic or it sucks. And there's no in between. There's no build. There's no context. And we're seeing that with Michael Bradley. I just had to bring that to the table. What other matches are you staring at this weekend?
I think those are the big ones. I was interested on that LAFC Houston Dynamo, because there's going to be a lot of goals regardless. Obviously, LAFC coming in from a very disappointing game against Toluca. They're going to want to see it through. I expect Martinez to start this game, since he didn't start at El Emesio. We know what we see from Houston, right? They're a team that They're going to want to exchange with you right in the middle of the ring. They're going to try to figure out if they could outbeat you. Inali's having phenomenal shots from outside of the 18, doing golazos, but you can't necessarily see it through in the results all the time. So to me, lots of goals in this one, man. I would say that I'd be willing to go over the 4.5 mark. Like that. That's how I'd be willing to go with this one. I think it's going to be a big game for LAFC in general. So yeah, what are the numbers on that one?
3.5 is plus 163 to give you an idea. So I'm building up.
Okay.
4.5 is a plus 400.
Okay, that's too much. Yeah, let's that seems like a trap there. So 3.5 is good. 3.5 is good. Yeah, let's reel it in. See, I got all hyped up. I got all excited. You know, I'm on
Back to
losing my calmness.
Nothing. Since you mentioned LAFC, I want to ask a question about LAFC and Nashville for a second. So you have two teams, and once again, this goes into the battle of the extremes, where two teams show very well how their investments, which have gone in different directions, got them to the semifinals of the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza. But because they didn't win in their two-legged semis against Toluca and Tigres, obviously, and this is and I'm not even going to give the author credit, but I will paraphrase the saying, that Major League Soccer isn't treating CONCACAF as a serious competition because they've only won once out of the last 24, I think, or one out of the last 25. They're not treating the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza seriously enough because they're not winning the thing and they're not advancing past certain stages. I thought that the statement itself was ludicrous, but you have teams in Major League Soccer getting to this stage. You have Nashville doing what they did to get to this stage and to this point of the tournament. Yet some folks are still disenchanted that Major League Soccer is not taking it seriously with LAFC and Nashville not making it to the final. Mm-hmm.
If we want to get technical about this, there are still some circumstances that might feel like cope, but they are circumstances that, they're not excuses.
Yeah.
I think that when the calendar of MLS changes, that's gonna give this a lot more of a balance, and I think that you might see teams more prepared for this particular tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of it. I do believe that there's clearly, and again, the even the indication that teams are not taking this seriously is laughable.
Mm-hmm.
It's comical, as a lot of takes out there on socials are, and there is that passion that you saw from a guy like Mark Dos Santos screaming at the top of his lungs that maybe if you wanted to really get technical with it, maybe moving the calendar to allow these teams to come in a lot fresher into this types of tournaments is something that should be done. That's totally fair.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still what everyone has been screaming about over the last couple of days, because all of a sudden MLS is inferior to Liga MX because they need to open up the strengths of the salary cap and the system and all this stuff, which is, again, it drives me crazy, because you knew that coming in, right? I mean, we all know the deficiencies of MLS and we know how we can get better, but you don't need to sound dumb by just saying, oh, now that LAFC lost and Nashville lost, now it's we must do it now. Like, look, that had been a problem, but those games. So if LAFC would have won, then we don't need to change anything. Is that where we're going? Is that how little bit of foresight we have? Are we that short-sighted? I absolutely hate it, right? So to me, it is about a lot of things. There's got to be a lot of more experience from MLS teams playing in Mexico. It is no coincidence that MLS teams have a hard time playing in Mexico. It happens. You got to build that, and you got to figure that out. And those things are coming. And yes, you do have to get more talent in the league, and you got to have a lot more spending. But when you look at the circumstantial moments in those games, it drives me crazy that we go to this sort of rationale, because the players that failed LAFC in Toluca were your top players. And now we're blaming the league. We're blaming Mark Dos Santos. Is Mark Dos Santos supposed to go and show Denny Buanga how to chip a goalkeeper in a big pressure moment because you can be clinical? No, he can't. Does Mark Dos Santos need to go show Tillman how to not miss a wide open net from a rebound? No. Is he supposed to show a team that a guy like Hollingston, who is supposed to be one of your more experienced guys, your more safe picks, that guy that you're going to rely on to not make a dumb mistake inside the 18 because there's no field awareness and you create the penalty that starts the descent of your team? No. So let's look at things for what they are. And all the time we like to go for the head coach, and sometimes people have agendas, and it's like, I knew the Mark Dos Santos was a fraud and all this thing. Just shut up. Just shut it. I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. This was a game that the players lost on the field, and as simple as that, execution was poor. If you go back at all the goals, you could pinpoint exactly those moments where players just let off the gas. They had no idea what was going on. They didn't have the temperament, and that's on the players. That's on Denny Buanga. That's on Sonny. Sonny had a bad game, and it's okay to say that. It's all right to put that on Sonny because he is supposed to be your guy. So when those guys don't show up, they also deserve some accountability, man.
Yep. All right. So what's going on at the Providence and Swedish 5-minute oil change and tire rotation?
Yeah, we will be there in just a couple of hours. We're going to see how the team is setting out. We'll talk to Brian Smetzer. It's like I said, it's going to be a fun game against San Diego. We're going to be talking a little bit about some of those injuries and how the team is going to be setting up for this one. But particularly, I think that if you want to check out a lot of the things that we kind of gathered throughout the week, go ahead and check out Pulso Sports in our channel. We have a lot of fun interviews, including one with Andrew Thomas, where we ask him about MLS All-Star. I know I'm early, but I'm already campaigning my guy so he can get in those votes. So if you're seeing it, he's second, tied for second in clean sheets. He leads the league on save percentage. So Andrew Thomas for MLS All-Star. That's going to be my big pitch. And then, of course, we have what we learned this week with Jeremiah Oshan. We're going to be in studio. We're going to break down the game that's going to be against San Diego. And then on Monday with Ari in Love and Scourge Kickoff, we'll break down the weekend that was. I know that you're getting ready to kick me out. I'm going to get the hook here, my man John. So I appreciate you, man. You are the man. And thank you for having me.
As always, my brother, great to see you. Love you very much. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.